Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video today. We'll have a bit of a chat about what's going on in Spain. We'll go into the press and check out what is happening there. And then at the end of the video, we'll go into the comment section and take a look at what is happening there. Also, quite a few comments left on yesterday's video about some vaccination data that we saw. I think we saw that Spain had overtaken the United Kingdom when it comes to the percentage of fully vaccinated adults. A lot of people seem to think that that was not the case, and the United Kingdom has a bigger percentage of people fully vaccinated than Spain. So what we'll do is we'll go into the data and have a look at what the real situation is. Now there's some good news around today as far as the health situation in Spain is concerned. Apparently the fifth wave of COVID-19 is stabilizing, and the speed at which the virus is spreading among the younger generations is also slowing down. So let's hope the downward trend continues and the fifth wave gets under control soon. Now, the two main opposition parties in Spain, the Partido Popular and Vox, are apparently at loggerheads because the leader of Vox, Santiago Abascal, has been classified as a persona non grata in the autonomous city of Ceuta by the PP government. Apparently, it's because Abascal stirred up a fair bit of trouble the last time he was in Ceuta because of that immigrant crisis there back in May. Remember that some 10,000 people stormed the Spain-Morocco border down there, and that led to a huge crisis between the two countries, Spain and Morocco. And of course, Mr. Abascal was quick to travel to that part of Spain and stir up anti-immigration sentiment, which, as I mentioned, has led to him being banned from that part of Spain. So Vox not happy about that, and it might put some of the partnerships that Vox and the PP have in various governments around the country in jeopardy. Now we'll go into the English version of El País and try to clear up some of the doubts that people may have as to which country has the largest share of fully vaccinated people. And as we can see here, according to El País and its data sources, Spain has the highest share of fully vaccinated people of world's large countries. Nearly 26 million individuals are completely immunised against COVID-19, putting the country ahead of the UK, Germany, the US and France. Out of the world's 50 most populated countries, Spain has the largest share of people who are fully vaccinated against COVID-19. According to the latest comparable data on the website Our World in Data, run by Oxford University, Spain overtook the United Kingdom last Thursday in terms of administered second doses. This trend was maintained in Sunday's figures, which were published on Tuesday in the online repository. So basically everything that I said yesterday. So why are people doubting this information? The El País newspaper is taking their information from the Our World in Data website, so we'll go there and have a look also. And as we can see, the dark green colour, share of people fully vaccinated against COVID-19, and the lighter green colour, share of people only partially vaccinated against COVID-19. And we can see the top 5 countries, Canada, UK, Spain, Italy and Germany. And we can see that Spain has indeed overtaken the UK when it comes to share of fully vaccinated people against COVID-19. So that is the data from the ourworldindata.org website, which is compiled by Oxford University. Canada out on top, Spain second, and the UK third. Now, we also saw yesterday that a court in Granada ordered an insurance company to pay up on a claim for €80,000 to a restaurant that had been forced to close during the pandemic. And I asked the question whether or not this sets a precedent for future cases. And the state broadcaster today is asking the same question. Can a company that was forced to close during the pandemic claim insurance for its losses? That is the question, and I'm sure it's going to open a huge can of worms here in Spain. And from what I've read, this is not the first case of this type in Spain. Apparently last November, an insurance company was forced to pay up €6,000 to a pizza bar that was also forced to close. So good news for small business and bad news for insurance companies, or does this mean that insurance premiums will go up in the future? That is also the question. And the last piece of news we'll look at today relates to COVID certificates and whether or not they are going to become mandatory in Spain to enter the interior parts of certain public spaces, for example, bars, restaurants, supermarkets and shopping centres. And as we can see here, Certificado COVID para Interiores, debate abierto entre Sanidad y las comunidades autónomas. So an open debate on the topic between the Health Department and the autonomous communities here in Spain. As we know, some autonomous communities have decided to implement COVID certificates for certain places, for example in Galicia, also in the Canary Islands, I believe, in Tenerife, and other autonomous communities are debating whether or not it is a good idea. here. As I mentioned yesterday, it seems to be fairly common in other European countries, but in Spain they can't come to a consensus. As we all know, the main argument against making something like this obligatory is that it discriminates against people that haven't been vaccinated, either because they don't want to, or perhaps vaccination is not available for them yet. And if you are in your 20s in Spain and you haven't been caught up for vaccination, and you're not allowed to enter the interior part of a restaurant or bar because you haven't been vaccinated, it could be considered discrimination. That's the question. What do you think? Now let's go into the comments section and check out what is happening there. One here from Diogo: in Portugal, the fourth wave has already started to decrease in the last days. There are also new plans to deconfine the country in the next months. About the popularity of the Portuguese ministers and the president, it has also decreased a bit, with the exception of the president, and there are plans to reform the government. However, there are local elections in October, and I think they aren't going to do anything until the next month. Yeah, Diogo, thanks for the comment. I have noticed that the health situation here in Portugal appears to be getting better in some parts of the country, and I saw the Portuguese Prime Minister on the television the other day saying that by the end of September or early October, things should start getting back to normal. Portugal is also confident that its vaccination campaign is going to be able to turn the situation around, and I think they're planning that by those 2 months that I just mentioned, late September or early October, a large percentage of the population is going to be fully vaccinated. And when it comes to the popularity of politicians at the moment, not many seem to be doing very well. We saw that Pedro Sanchez's popularity has plummeted in recent times, people also suggesting that Boris Johnson is not the most popular politician going around, and as you mentioned here in Portugal, it is also the case, especially when it comes to the Prime Minister and the executive government, the people that take decisions. And as you also mentioned there, the President of Portugal seems to be the only politician that hasn't seen his popularity decline, but that's probably because he doesn't take decisions. One here from Mike: Sydney is in lockdown, what's going on? Yeah, Mike, thanks for the comment, and you're right, Sydney is currently in a lockdown situation, and I think today it has been extended for another 4 weeks, and that is because of an increase in COVID cases down there, apparently. A couple of other states in Australia have also had lockdowns recently, South Australia and Victoria, but I believe that their lockdowns came to an end today. And unfortunately, this seems to be an ongoing problem in Australia. The vaccination campaign down there is very, very slow. I think only around 14 or 15% of the population is fully vaccinated down there. So if you compare those figures with a country like Spain, Australia still has a long, long way to go. And unless the vaccination plan in Australia speeds up, COVID is going to be a problem in Australia for some time to come. I hope I'm wrong, but it seems that is going to be the case. One here from Marsanti: hi Stuart, congrats on the 500 episodes and thanks for all your hard work in keeping us informed. I'm a US citizen and just got back last week from a great trip to Spain. No problems whatsoever because I made sure to prepare beforehand. I appreciated how nearly everyone wore a mask and I felt very safe. In case anyone is alarmed by the US State Department warning against terrorism and civil unrest in Spain, that warning has been on the State Department's website for many years. It's nothing new. Many other countries have had these similar warnings for years too. United Kingdom, Germany. I wonder what Spain has to say to its citizens on these subjects regarding travel to the US. Likewise, I'm sure. Yeah, Marsanti, thanks for the comment and good to see that you enjoyed your trip to Spain. And you're right, as long as you prepare well beforehand, you shouldn't have too many problems travelling. And when it comes to that State Department warning that we saw yesterday, as we know, the United States is again warning people against travelling to Spain. I think they have Spain now at level 4 on the risk list. And they also mentioned potential problems when it comes to terrorism and civil unrest. But as you say there, those warnings are not unique to Spain. Other European countries have a similar warning. And I don't think those warnings are there to cause alarm. I think that people just need to be informed that these things can take place, and they have taken place in the past. And I've said on many occasions in these videos that in my opinion, Spain is a safe country. One here from Manikan: I remember watching your first pandemic video. Didn't think we'd still be living with this virus. Spent over 2.5 hours online today trying to book an antigen test for my return to the UK next week. Nightmare. Everywhere was fully booked for Monday and Tuesday next week. Finally got an appointment in Alicante. Finally visited Murcia City last night. Lovely evening doing a bit of shopping and eating ice cream. Spent the day at Mar Menor on Murcia's coast. Lovely region. Unique, and thanks for the comment. As we know, yesterday was day 500 since that first state of alarm took place in Spain last year, and I've been doing these videos now for roughly 500 days. And sorry to see that it was difficult for you to get an antigen test. Of course, you need one to go back to the UK, so I thought it would be a little bit easier to get, but maybe it's not. And as I've said over the last few days, this is definitely one of the hassles of travelling at the moment. But hopefully you can get it done, get on your flight, and get back to the UK safely. One here from Just Reboot. My wife and I are still planning a 2-week trip to Madrid in October. I know we're still a few months away, so I'll stay peeled to your channel and hopefully not have to cancel again. Thanks for the info. Yeah, Just Reboot, thanks for the comment, and I'm sure that there are a lot of people in a similar situation to you wondering about whether or not they will have to cancel their upcoming trips to Europe and Spain. I don't think you're going to have any trouble getting into Spain. I don't think there's any plans to close the borders again, but of course there could be problems from your end if the United States government doesn't consider Spain a safe country to travel to. So with a bit of luck that won't be the case, and you'll be able to enjoy your trip to Madrid. One here from Jeff. Stu, I like the way that you pronounce names in as near as the native an accent as possible. Does this help in learning a language? I often despair when I hear people trying to practice their Spanish without any attempt to disguise their local British accent, but I wonder if you think it actually helps. Yeah, Jeff, thanks for the comment. I don't think accent is the most important thing. The most important thing is that you make yourself understood. Even if you have a heavy accent and people can understand you, that shouldn't be a problem. When it comes to my pronunciation of the Spanish language, it's not perfect. I could never pass for a native Spanish speaker, but I do try to pronounce words in Spanish as best I can. And I must admit that I do cringe a little bit when I hear some English speakers try to pronounce words in Spanish. I remember a couple of years ago I was in a town in Malaga called Frigiliana, sitting down having a coffee. There were a couple of English speakers at the table next to us, and their accents were terrible. Una cerveza doble, por favor. So it's not fundamental, but it does help to work on your Spanish accent, in my opinion. On that note, I'll wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the situation out as you normally do. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.